am Jane Sonko, and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Kayaba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. And here are the main local, sports and international news headlines. In an exclusive interview, we look at the reputable track record of the former ICC Chief Prosecutor Fatou Bensouda in the global justice system, with a legal career spanning more than 4 decades. Over $200,000 worth of food items was on Saturday presented by the ECOWAS Federation of Business Women Entrepreneurs Gambia to widows, single mothers and the underprivileged to support them in the month of Ramadan. An 8-year-old girl needs overseas treatment for a heart condition called tetralogy of Fallot, a birth defect that affects the heart. In international news, Sunday 17th April 2022 was World Hemophilia Day, commemorated annually to increase awareness about hemophilia and other inherited bleeding disorders. In sports news, in football, Birkama United have closed the gap on Real de Banjul to 1 point at the top of the league standings after their 2-0 win over Fortune in the West Coast region. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Do stay with us. Thank you for joining us. I am Jane Sonko and you're watching QTV News. Now, named as one of the 50 women who, by their actions and initiatives in their respective roles, advance the African continent, Fatou Bensouda has a reputable track record in the global justice system with a legal career spanning more than 4 decades. In an exclusive interview, the former ICC Chief Prosecutor has been speaking to QTV's Mamadou Lamin Choi about her career journey from the Gambia to the International Criminal Court.
I, Fatou Bensouda, solemnly undertake that I will perform my duties and exercise my powers as prosecutor of the International Criminal Court.
Fatou Bensouda, illustrious personality in the legal profession, has become one of the biggest names in global justice for her expertise and experience on the national and international stages. She has led efforts to investigate, charge and prosecute perpetrators of some of the most heinous crimes the world has ever seen. The former ICC Chief Prosecutor was born in the Gambia's capital, Banjul, in 1961, where she did her basic and secondary education and proceeded for studies in Nigeria. On completion of her studies, she worked in the judiciary in several positions in the 1980s, from public prosecutor to the highest rank of Attorney General and Minister of Justice. This was the last position she held in the Gambia before commencing her international career. She was appointed special advisor and trial lawyer at the UN International Tribunal for Rwanda from 2002 to 2004. It was after that assignment in 2004 when Mrs. Bensouda was, by an overwhelming majority, elected by the Assembly of State Parties as Deputy Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court. After serving in that function for 7 years, Bensouda was elected the Chief Prosecutor of the Court in 2011, a position she held until 2021, marking nearly 2 decades service at the ICC. She is the first woman to hold that position. During her tenure, the former ICC prosecutor led several strategic and managerial initiatives and expanded her office's activities to cover 14 investigations and numerous active preliminary examinations of conflicts around the world. The investigations included alleged human rights abuses in Palestine, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Ukraine, Colombia, Venezuela, Georgia, and so on.
Then you also have the Central African Republic. This is also a very high profile. Central African Republic. You have the Cote d'Ivoire case, which involved the former president, Laurent Gbagbo, and also other cases in Cote d'Ivoire, which I just started before leaving.
The investigations that landed her on the blacklist of the Trump-led administration was that of Afghanistan. In November 2017, Bensouda advised the ICC to consider seeking charges for human rights abuses committed during the Afghanistan war, such as rapes and torture by the U.S. Armed Forces, the Central Intelligence Agency, the Taliban, and Afghan security forces. The ICC judges approved the request, sparking anger in the White House to unleash harsh and unprecedented sanctions on the ICC prosecutor and her staff.
The United States will designate ICC prosecutor Fatou Bensouda and the ICC's head of jurisdiction complementarian cooperation division Pakiso Mochichuko for having material assisted prosecutor Bensouda.
I was sanctioned. My visa was revoked. My credit card, my bank was also closed. So I did not have access to any account. And a few other things were also a consequence of those sanctions. But I thought, or I felt, and I was very much convinced that I was doing the right thing.
However, the sanctions were lifted by the Biden administration, citing ineffectiveness, although it too holds the same position on the Afghanistan investigation. Having served for decades on the national and international scene, she still is committed to contribute to her country's development. I asked Mrs. Bensouda whether she would take up appointments to serve her country once more.
I have always said, and those people who have interacted with me will tell you, that first and foremost, I like service. I just like to serve. And I do not see any problem whatsoever in serving my country, in serving my government, in serving in any other capacity that I feel can add, as I said, I can contribute meaningfully and positively to the development of this country.
In June 2021, Bensouda's tenure ended and followed her appointment by the UN Human Rights Council as the chairperson of the International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia. In a farewell ceremony, judges and other staff of the International Criminal Court cited her legacy, as well as significant challenges which have marked her term and which she has overcome with grace, resilience, and professional integrity. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Inspirational story there by Mamadou Lamin Choi. Now, over 200,000 Dalasi's worth of food items was on Saturday presented by the ECOWAS Federation of Business Women Entrepreneurs, Gambia, to widows, single mothers and underprivileged to support them in the month of Ramadan. Lola M. Kamara has more.
The act of fasting calls for Muslims to practice self-discipline and sacrifice, and to reflect upon and show compassion for the poor and less fortunate. Muslims are reminded to be generous and increase their charitable activities. The food items presented are bags of rice, sugar, and gallons of cooking oil. Ajinde Conte Jallo, the president of the ECOWAS Federation of Business Women Entrepreneurs, Gambia chapter, said this gesture is part of their social responsibility to assist the needy, especially in the holy month of Ramadan.
Sometimes the smallest gesture can make a huge impact on someone. There are many ways we can show kindness to others, and it doesn't have to be a big way. The executive and myself work tirelessly towards this Ramadan gift. We are grateful to Allah, and we do hope we have the strength to continue to do this noble gesture. What we are distributing today is not the end. We will continue until the end of Ramadan, God willing. I wish to thank immensely the executive, our families, friends, and institutions that contributed towards this noble gesture. Inshallah, we hope we'll be able to do more next year.
Receiving the items, the beneficiaries expressed their appreciation to the ECOWAS Federation for the noble and worthy gesture. One individual cannot take care of a country. It's like a family head. He will give fish money, but it is difficult if no one supports him. We thank you and we are happy. We pray to Allah so that we can do this every year and all of us to be present. I call on every woman to join this federation because Ajinde is doing a good job in the Gambia. They support women, and we all know that rice and oil is expensive. We thank and appreciate everyone. The ECOWAS Federation of Business Women Entrepreneurs, Gambia, promotes women empowerment and supporting the needy and underprivileged in society. Formed over 10 years ago, membership consists of women and organizations across the country. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
Now on to some sad news, as an 8-year-old girl needs overseas treatment for a heart condition called tetralogy. According to her medical reports from the Medical Research Council, Binta Jao was diagnosed shortly after birth in 2013. Omar Pijala visited the family and files on this report.
It's a bad defect that affects normal blood flow through the heart. It happens when a baby's heart does not form correctly, as the baby grows and develops in the mother's womb during pregnancy. According to an MRC medical report, Binta was presented to the facility in 2018 with recurrent intermittent history of chest pain, coughs and swelling of limbs. Her medical report also stated that Binta has difficulty in breathing, especially when playing with peers. She also appears to be smaller than her peers. Due to a lack of facilities for the surgery in the Gambia, the report recommends for her to go for treatment overseas, which her family say they cannot afford.
Min sipenda mide musi mwa wata ya school mwa wata tanone mwa wata yo fich.
When my chest starts hurting, I am unable to go to school, sleep or play with my friends. I always cry due to the pain.
Kumbajao, Binta's mother, says her daughter has breathing problems, especially at night, which is affecting her education and therefore appeal for support.
I am appealing for help from anyone to save my daughter's life. We don't have the means to treat her because even feeding is sometimes a problem, and my husband is not working. I am just a petty trader. I started having children after 20 years of marriage. I only have a son who is 10 years old and Binta who is now sick. Please help save my only daughter's life.
Amadou Jao, Binta's father, also appealed for help.
I
am seeking support to treat my daughter. Having a sick child who requires overseas treatment is not easy, especially when you are poor and cannot afford the treatment to save her life. It is painful. I wish I have the means, but I am just a herdsman who is paid from looking after people's cow during the rainy season. My service is not needed during the dry season, so I'm jobless. I am devastated. I really need help. Anyone willing to help Binta can contact QTV on 333-3245, 333-3245, or email news@qtv.gm. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Very sad news there. We hope that Binta Jao gets the support that she needs. Now we'll go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we have international and sports news. Do stay tuned.
Welcome! Gambian people, they are proud to Gora's Boutique. Gora's Boutique Sibir Gambia. Ubetina boutique bubes. The Tipper Garas Mall of the Gambia. Si West Africa, yep. Manam Afrique de l'Ouest, yep. Gora's Boutique rek. Mofi am lu mel ni. Ngir begel clientèle bi. New shop Tipper Garas Mall of the Gambia. Gora's Boutique, #1 ci West Africa. Gora's Boutique, by Kadia. Gora's Boutique, ana kuy wut bazin riche. Ñëwal Gora's Boutique. Ana kuy wut bazin power. Ñëwal Gora's Boutique. Ngay wut bazin original. Ñëwal Gora's Boutique. Ngay wut Gesner, ñëwal Gora's Boutique. Bu dee fii la fil nga bëgg nag, fii la fekk baax. Coton brodé, fii la fekk baax. Brodé pirxe bi xale yi jigéen yépp bëgg. Brodé pirxa ngi noonu amul fenn. Gora's Boutique moo ko am. Ak am classe, nga bëgg Swiss Val. Brodé Autriche, best quality, high quality laa lay wax de. High quality. Maanaam high quality and unique. Fii rek la am Gora's Boutique. Jëlal gaaw, til boo bëgg sax am na fa. Looy wut ci tisi sañse. Tisi sañse dëgg, ñëwal Gora's Boutique. Jëlal number Gora's Boutique 76938223 wala 3072354 ay Gora's Boutique ak am classe.
This is the quality of elegance.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and Ria just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I am Jenna Bosonko. Now on to news beyond our borders. Sunday, 17th April 2022 was World Hemophilia Day, commemorated annually to increase awareness about other inherited bleeding disorders. More in this report.
Hemophilia is an inherited genetic disorder in which the blood's capacity does not clot properly, causing one to bleed excessively even from minor injuries or surgeries. The theme for this year's World Hemophilia Day is Access for All, Partnership, Policy, Progress, Engaging your government, Integrating inherited bleeding disorders into national policy. The observance of this day is crucial as it helps increase awareness about the disease and ways to strengthen access to better diagnosis and healthcare for millions who remain without treatment. The history of the day can be traced back on the birthday of Frank Schonabel, founder of the World Federation of Hemophilia, WFH. The World Federation educates people across the globe and encourages them to light up in red to show solidarity with people suffering from the disorder. The complications of hemophilia can be severe and treatment is often expensive. Patients that have severe cases of the disorder can have bleeding in muscles, joints, and other parts of the body. The inherited disease is passed to the child from the parents. However, early detection might help a patient take precautions. Hemophilia affects all race and ethnicities. According to a report by the World Federation of Hemophilia, Hemophilia A affects 1 in 5,000 to 10,000 males, while Hemophilia B is less common, affecting 1 in 25,000 to 30,000 males. According to the American Journal of Managed Care, AJMC, meta-analysis showed that more than 1,125,000 men around the world have the inherited bleeding disorder. 418,000 of those have a severe version of the mostly undiagnosed disease. Previously, only 400,000 people globally were estimated to have hemophilia. The global population of patients with hemophilia is 3 times larger than originally believed, according to a study to be published in the Annals of Internal Medicine. On this day, words of encouragement and support are given to patients to be hopeful and strong. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
From that story by Ajibintu Drame, now let's take a look at what is happening in the world of sports. Brikama United have closed the gap on Real de Banjul to a 1 point after their 2-0 win over Fortune in the West Coast Region Derby. Our sports reporter Mamoudou Gajaga was at the Independence Stadium on Saturday night, and he now reports.
A stunning free kick scored by Habibu Mende in the 90th minute sealed Brikama United's 2-0 win against Fortune in the West Coast Region Derby. Mende fired in a powerful shot from 25 yards, which rattled the bar on its way into the net. Powerful forward Ibrahim Osori Bangura gave the Sateba boys the lead from the penalty spot when he was brought down after he overran the Fortune defense. The spot kick was calmly converted by the Bissau Guinean. Fortune remonstrated in the aftermath of referee Omar Salah's decision to award Brikama United the penalty, claiming Bangura was in an offside position before he was brought down. Despite Brikama United's 2-0 win, Fortune had several chances to score. They forced goalkeeper Sidi Sila into several saves. Bully Drame's corner kick almost went straight into the net, but keeper Sila pushed it out for another corner. Brikama United coach Modulamin Nyasi says he is positive about the win against Fortune as it puts pressure on leaders Real de Banjul.
First, I think I have to thank both sides, both Fortune and Brikama United. I think everyone knows coming to this game, you all know it's going to be a tough game. I mean, they are champions, even though they are having struggling in the league. But definitely they have a side, so we have to respect them with that. And then, we knew very well that we're going to play a tough game. But thank God that we collected the maximum point, and that's the idea anyway. We read how Fortune are playing. I know they won't allow us to play. They put on high pressing. I mean, which is very difficult for our midfield to initiate attacks and then create spaces. So that's what we discussed in the second half. I told them you have to keep the ball and then you play 1-2. And then, you try to move out. Yes, the impact came when Major came, Emil Sanya. I think he's a fine player. He's a young player, very young player. So definitely, I think he changed the shape of the team, and then we did it together.
After 15 matches, Brikama United are second on the GFF First Division League table on 28 points, 1 point behind leaders Real de Banjul. Fortune hasn't been living up to their name as champions after winning the league last season. They are well off the pace and currently lie 11th on 18 points after 15 games. Mamadou Gajaga, QTV News.
From that story by Mamadou Gajaga, let's recap our main headlines. In an exclusive interview, we looked at the reputable record and accomplishments of the former ICC Chief Prosecutor Fatou Bensouda in the global justice system, with a legal career spanning more than 4 decades. Over $200,000 worth of food items was on Saturday presented by the ECOWAS Federation of Businesswomen Entrepreneurs Gambia to widows, single mothers and underprivileged to support them in the month of Ramadan. We brought you the story of an 8-year-old girl who needs overseas treatment for a heart condition called tetralogy about the fact that affects the heart. And in international news, Sunday 17th April 2022 was World Hemophilia Day, commemorated annually to increase awareness about other inherited bleeding disorders. And in sports news, in football, Brikama United have closed the gap on Real de Banjul to 1 point at the top of the league standings after their 2-0 win over Fortune. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Do join us tomorrow, same time for more news. Thanks for watching and have a great week ahead.